welcome to Black Mammologist Week. And my name is Julian Nesbitt, and I'm honored to be hosting the second workshop of the day, the Mammal Drawing Workshop. Thanks everyone for coming to attend this and learn how to draw a mammal. And just to make sure, please follow Black Mammologist Week on Instagram, Twitter, and keep up with the rest of the week. We're still got a lot of stuff that's still happening, and we really want to see you all there. So without further ado, I'm honored to introduce our artist today, Dominique Ramsey. Dominique Ramsey is an award-winning freelance illustrator, designer, and visual development artist based in Charlotte. She enjoys drawing symbolism, nature, animals, and women. Her art has been acknowledged by the Society of Illustrators, the Art Directors Club, 3x3 Illustration, American Illustration, and shown in galleries around the country, including the BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport. Dominique strives for uniqueness and using line work, bright colors, patterns, and shapes to tell conceptual stories. She draws by hand either digitally or traditionally, so there's no use of AI in her artwork. Some of her biggest inspirations come from folk art, culture, and music. Dominique graduated with a BFA in illustration from the Savannah College of Art and Design, and some select clients of hers include Delta Airlines, Nike, Microsoft, Penguin Random House, HarperCollins, Scholastic, Macy's, Wizards of the Coast, Netflix, UMG Records, MeUndies, The HuffPost, Pinterest, and Walmart. So without further ado, let's give it up for Dominique Ramsey.
Hello.
Hi there. How's it going?
Pretty good. It's nice to be here.
Yeah. So let's start with some questions. So I see all these clients you've had. Just what was the trajectory from drawing to drawing animals specifically to all the work you've gotten since then?
So when I was a junior in college at SCAD, there was a lot of the teachers were insinuating that, hey, Dominique, if you want to make a living in art, you have to draw some people sometimes. And I was like, no, but no, it's true. I do have to draw people sometimes. So it was, I had to get into the right headspace first before graduating, of course, and then practice drawing people ahead of time so that when I did graduate, I could just start advertising myself and looking for more work.
Awesome. And I guess just let everyone know just what your story was in general. Like, how did you get into art and then drawing animals? How did it all begin?
Yeah, so ever since I was the earliest I can remember is 4 years old. I've always loved drawing animals.
Mm.
I started out drawing Pokemon and like all of the Disney characters that were dogs. um, and the biggest thing that kept me going in childhood was animation. So like Don Bluth was Disney, Pokemon, Digimon, basically anything that had a creature in it. And and I guess what's special to me about animal art that was different than just drawing people is that there's a special connection that we as people have to nature and animals, and it's different in every culture. And I could see that in the animations that I was watching, especially when they turned the animals into anthropomorphic characters. So they basically made them stand on two legs and then walk around. That was mind blowing to me. I was like, oh my God, an animal man. This is the best thing ever. And then they had their own personalities that were based off of the culture that the animal was referenced from, but the animal also still had animal qualities. And it's like, wow, that is so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you with growing up with animation and that being what partially helped raise me. I think of like The Lion King and all like the Pixar stuff and like SpongeBob, just animals, just the animation just helping me be interested in wildlife and taking me on the career trajectory I am with the wildlife work I do. And so I guess another question is, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think it also happens where you drew animals because there wasn't a lot of representation of Black people in like media growing up? It was just kind of wildlife.
Yeah, I definitely have considered that multiple times over the years, and I do think that's what it is because when I think back on other people, like, or I guess other kids in school who would draw, they always drew people, but they were also surrounded by people that looked like them. And the first thing a child does is to draw people that looks like them. And I did not have the representation growing up, so I chose to focus on animals, and then it just kept going. Yeah.
Awesome. And I guess one more question before we just get into the drawing. What was your first clients where you ended up drawing a mammal?
I think maybe was my very first freelance client was Glitter Cat Amusements, where I illustrated cats for like a 55 card deck. So um I don't know the actual name of what the cards are, but it's like the Joker, the King and the Queen type cards. But it was just all cats.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
Gotcha. That does sound fun. All right, let's just get into the drawing. So how we're gonna do this is we left it up to the audience. So just comment away what mammal should Dominique should teach us how to draw, and we'll just follow along with her, and it'll be a really great time. So just comment away, and whoever majority rules, whoever wins.
Yeah.
And while we're waiting, what's like the hardest mammal and what's the easiest mammal to draw? Just like if you're starting out.
Yeah, the easiest mammal for me is of course going to be dog.
Is that okay?
Um, Probably the hardest mammal. It has to be honestly deer are more hard to
Oh,
draw for me than horses.
oh wow.
Interestingly enough, and like horses are pretty tricky.
Hmm. What makes them tricky, like the horses and the deer?
So horses, I guess I should start by saying that to me, dogs, I can imagine the anatomy similar for other creatures like cats or like mustelids or things like that. But the horse anatomy is completely different than a
Hmm.
dog. So I can't even try to be like, oh, well, I'm gonna make it look like a dog anatomy and just, just wing it. No, it won't look right. So I have to actually picture horse anatomy and study horse anatomy. And it's similar for deer because
Hmm.
there's a way to draw a deer where you can end up making them look like a horse, but then that don't look right because deer are not horse.
Right. All right, so we got some requests coming in. I caught a lion, a manatee, a honey badger, a bison. Oh, I see four for bats. Well, I
Ooh.
guess that's majority. So you down with drawing a bat, Dominique?
Yeah.
All right, we're drawing a bat.
Heck yeah. All right.
I'm gonna try and follow on too.
So I should start off by saying that I usually draw in Procreate, but because I'm sharing a screen, it is Photoshop today. Photoshop is going to be offering today. And oh, wait, I'm not in the sketch layer. So I always start out by sketching first because I do not feel ready enough to just freehand with line art. Oh, let me see what color I'm gonna pick here. I like doing my sketches with red because I grew up like that. Um, and when it comes to thinking about drawing an animal, I was taught to think of it in shapes first. So let me zoom in here. Okay, there we go. No, actually, I imagine bat heads more like a triangle, and then the body, it's circular or more of an oval. Maybe got some the wings here. I guess the wings are one of those shapes where it's like that's it's just a funky shape. I guess you could imagine it being like made up of triangles, kind of. But also, I love thinking about bat wings as pointy all the time. Let's see this. This head. This head is actually gigantic. Because now that I think about it, bat heads are very small. Okay, here we go. Yes. And ooh, no, I want this bat to have the biggest ears. Because some bats do have really giant ears. And that is my favorite part. Bats. They're big sonar ears. And for me, the sketch part is always the most boring because this is like the bones of the illustration. So you gotta make it look right at this stage before you go on to line art and color. Because otherwise you'll be like, wow, that anatomy sure don't look right, but the color's already there, so you don't want to remove it. It is just the better practice to focus on getting the sketch right before final. I'm gonna make this bat smiling because I think that's really cute. Actually, let's fix this. No. No. Like sketching is just this. Like being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a line, and then you realize that the line don't look all that great, and you're like, no, and you do it 15 times. I want to give them a little animation tooth because I think that is so fun. I love when they have teeth sticking out. It's great. Something else to note for sketching is that it is perfectly okay for you to draw ugly and then acknowledge that it kind of ugly and then fix it. Like you don't have to be like, oh, this don't look right, but I'm just gonna draw over it anyway. No, free yourself. Draw bad so that you can draw good. The more comfortable you get with drawing bad, it also makes the sketching process more fun and quicker in my experience. Give them some. So actually, I forgot the wing. The wings kind of just like do this on the legs, like. I love giving them feet like this because I think this is so adorable. You know what? I think bats have a little. If they don't have this, I'm just putting this anyway. Little hooks on the end of the wings. It helps them hook onto things. Something that I have, well, another thing that I have learned in my short art career already is that you do not have to sketch and do final within 24 hours. It's okay for you to leave the art piece, think about it, then come back. Especially if you're looking at it and you're just like, wow, I am so sick of this. Your brain probably doesn't want to draw right now. You gotta go do something else. But yeah, it's good. These wings don't look like equal length. It's okay. This is in Photoshop. If I ask Photoshop to do too many favors, it will crash on me. No, actually, I'm gonna leave it like that. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So now the sketch is here. It is. How do look? Oh, let's see. Photoshop. There we go. Move it to the middle of the page there. And now get to start on line art. And this is the best part. So lower the opacity. And then lock this because I will draw on the sketch layer. It will happen. And I will be 30 minutes in, like, oops. Have to start all over. No, I don't think this is. I think it's too big. No, it's a terrible brush. Now I just have to decide what brush I want. Was this good? No. Is this good? No. Why are these brushes so bad? All these are so grainy. No, I think this is gonna be crazy. Yes, it is. So, like, as someone who primarily likes to draw in line art, this is also part of the process. Just testing out brushes, being like, wow, no, I don't like that. I think this is the closest to what I will use. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. And for me, line art is when the magic happens. Because I just get to mess with line weight and making it look so great. And the reason why I like line art so much is, for one, Albert Dürer. I love me some. Albert Dürer was an engraver in like the 1400s. So that's more of like on the printmaking side, but also comics. I love the way they approach line art in traditional comics. The use of black and balance that with the color is so delicious. I'm just like, yes, I want to live. I want to live like that in a world where the blacks are balanced out by the colors. Mm. Yeah. Mhm. Now, usually I would encourage to flip the canvas. I will. I am not going to flip the canvas today, but I do usually encourage that, um, especially in the sketch stage, so that you get to, when your eye gets used to drawing in a certain pose, you don't notice if anything's crooked, and then you flip it and you're like, ooh, this is italicizing itself.
Hey Chelsea, we got a sorry. Hey Dominique, we have a question from Chelsea in the chat. She asks, "Do you follow the anatomy as closely as possible, or do you just do what feels right?"
Yes, hello, Chelsea. Um, so I kind of go back and forth. There are times when I do try to follow the anatomy as closely as possible if I'm drawing the animal in perspective or in a different pose than what I usually draw in. Of course, for today, because I don't have a picture of a bat pulled up. This is more so from memory. um, and because I do like drawing stylized, sometimes Like with dogs, for example, I would just draw them any kind of way, but it is intentionally made to look like it is any kind of way. And also, especially for client work, I focus on the anatomy more because I know there will be someone out there looking at the client work and they're like, this animal look crooked. So yeah, and my first children's book was about animals. And that was a book where I did have to prioritize the anatomy over stylization. And there are also, to continue on your question, Chelsea, there are certain animals where they just look better overall when you focus on the anatomy versus if they're stylized. And a good example for that is elephants. I have tried styling elephants before. Mm-mm. They just look good when you follow the anatomy directions. And now that I'm thinking about the animals in anatomy, whales or another something. But like you can try to stylize a whale, but it will always look better when you focus more on how it looks anatomically and stylizing it because if you stylize it too much, it can very easily turn into a dolphin or a shark. And then somebody be like, that what kind of animal is that? That animal looks like it's been extinct for millions of years. That don't look like no whale I've seen. When it comes to learning about drawing animal anatomy or any kind of anatomy, is that using reference is not cheating. You are not a cheater. You will pass boarding school, unlike SpongeBob, if you use reference. Please use the reference. Especially if it's animals like deer or horses or any mammal that is tricky for you to draw. You will learn how to draw it better if you use the reference.
Yeah, Dominique, we got another question from Thornwolf Art.
Mm-hmm.
They ask, what is your favorite animal and what is your favorite animal to draw? Are they different or are they the same?
Ooh. So yes, I would say they're different. Um, my favorite mammal, that is actually a hard question because I love so many of them. But I will say that my favorite ones to draw are canines, so like wolves and dogs. And I think that's because I am just more used to drawing them. I've been drawing them a lot longer. Um, but my favorite mammal overall, hmm, I think it would be easier to say like the family of animals. And also it has changed over the years. So at the moment, I really like hares and rabbits. I'm very much into those. Oh yes. Yay, now time for color. So I'm actually gonna move this down here because otherwise I will color on the sketch layer and it will be terrible. Yes, so I think I'm going to make this bat natural colored. What if it's like a hmm. Hmm. Now fortunately at least with Photoshop the coloring is much easier than it is in Procreate. So I just gotta inverse this in Biome. Look at that. No, what's that? Okay. Yes, it's already colored in. There's no weird like crumbs on the outline. Something I have gotten into the habit of doing is putting my artwork into folders just so that it makes it easier for me to know which layer I'm on, not color on the wrong layer, go back to something, not have to scroll 5 minutes just to access it. It's beautiful. I recommend people organize their layers. It is also handy if you are an artist looking to go into commercial art because the clients, they want the layers organized, they need it. It's important for them. Oh no, it's a bad brush to color with. What? Why is that black? Here we go.
All right, Dominique, another question from Christian. What art styles do you find difficult, and what are some of your favorites?
Ooh. So the art styles that I find to be the most difficult are it's what people call the corporate art style. And it is something that I can draw in, but it to me it feels so lifeless. First of all, because there's no line art, but then also it's you can't have any textures on it, no variation. It's like, ooh, no. At least let me put some textures. But my favorite kind of art style is line art with flat color. And as much as I do love texture, there is just something so scrumptious about line art with flat color. It's beautiful. Especially when the shading and texture in flat color is utilized with the line art. Okay. Yeah.
All right, another question we got is, are you using an iPad right now or a different kind of tablet?
I am not using the iPad right now. I am currently using Wacom Cintiq. I don't remember what size this is, but this is one of the smaller ones. This is the part of the illustration where I just like to have fun, add in some like lines that are inspired by folk art from many different cultures. Of course, if this was client work, I probably wouldn't put these here because the client would be like, no, take those off.
Another question we've got is, what kind of brush do you use for the coloring?
So this current brush that I have up here, let me see. This is a brush by Naomi Romero. It is a heavy shading brush. And Naomi Romero is another freelance artist. They specialize in character design, illustration, and character design for animation.
Gotcha. And just another question came in. Out of curiosity, are you left or right-handed?
I am right-handed.
All right. Is there like a difference in like, are people who are left-handed better at some drawing skills than others? Is that a thing at all, or did I just make that up, or vice versa?
Um, hmm. Like at least as someone who is right-handed and has watched left-handed people draw, I find that people like I don't know if it's true about left hand, left side of the brain. Are people who are left-handed, they do tend to be better at certain skills than I am and things that it's just harder for me to adapt to, but they adapt to it like water, like a plant takes water. Um, a good example is like accuracy. I find that left-handed people tend to be they grasp that better when they're drawing, especially in their sketches. Whereas for me, my sketches are like They're not very accurate. They're very messy. Gotta I gotta get the mess out before I can get to the accuracy. And then even sometimes, as you guys saw with the line art, I had to repeatedly go over it. But someone who's left-handed, they could just do like one stroke and they're good. And I'm like, whoa, how do you do that?
Yeah, so we got about 10 minutes left. I had a question. What's your advice for how to make a living as a full-time artist? Like we hear about the archetype of like the starving artist, and we're told all the time that like arts careers you can't really make a living off of that. How do you make a living off of this?
Oh, yay. This is like my favorite thing to talk about. So you actually can make decent money as an illustrator, but something that they never tell you is when you're an illustrator, you also have to be a designer.
Mm.
And you also have to be like a marketing person and a spokesman person. And you have to be pretty decent at business. You have to be a business person as well. Because I would be lying to y'all if I said, "Hey, just make a website, put the art on it." No, you have to sell yourself essentially, but not sell yourself is like a snake oilsman type of thing. But it's more so you have to do the research of finding art directors' emails, researching what art styles are currently in the desired industry that you want to work in, such as like animation, kids' books, editorial, stuff like that. You have to be willing to follow other artists who are better than you so that
Mm.
you could just, not to observe them out of jealousy, but just observe how they do it because they're the ones who are also racking in decent money and like consistent client work. Um, Going to in-person events such as like exhibitions and conventions, even if you're not showing, just going to meet people. Because yeah, you can advertise yourself online, but people they won't remember you as much if they don't see you in person. They just really like to see you and realize that you're not a robot in a computer or something.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That applies to like every aspect of life, I feel like. So, yeah, art and drawing's no different.
Yeah, that's true. And when it comes to actually getting the work, there's a lot of different ways. There are people who are part of agencies. Now, if you want to work in publishing, you need an agent because that's what my agent told me. She's like, it is significantly harder to access the larger publishers if you don't have an agent because the larger publishers would just be like, oh, mm, no, I don't think so. Unless, of course, you want to write a book and then publish it, and that's all you're trying to do, then they might pay attention to you. But if you want to work in illustration, you got to have an agent to get in there, basically.
Mm.
Um, Now, with animation, you don't need an agent. That's just it's very hard to get into that door, and you just gotta keep networking really good. Engaging with other artists online. That's what helped me because during COVID, when we couldn't go nowhere, um, I I started out lurking, and they would talk about their life as an artist and illustrator, just working in the industry, and then I would reply to some of the things, some of the comments that I could reply to that I had some sort of knowledge about, and I was also soaking up all this information that they were putting out there for free, and that's how I have even some knowledge about animation industry, even though I did not go to school for animation. Just listening to all these animators give pointers and complain about their experience, and also talk about the highlights as well. What it's like working on a show, what's like being the storyboarder and things like that.
We got another question come in off of that. How do you go about finding an agent? We also have 5 minutes left, by the way.
Oh, okay. So I will say though that the bat is done for as much as I can do in the time window we have. Yay.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. I tried to follow along. Mine looks a little more crazy. So you're the person to mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, I did also forget to like talk and guide y'all. I zoned out and forgot that I existed for a minute and just kept drawing. But to answer the question, my agent found me online when, before Twitter blew up and spontaneously combusted. There was a lot of art shares, and I posted under my art under as many as I could, and that's how my agent found me. And then she emailed me, and then I was like, "Yes, we can." But I know there are some agencies that take submissions, like Bright Agency. Last I saw, they took submissions through their website. Um, you can also, like, I guess, email. If you know the art director's email and they work with an agency, you could try emailing them. But it is tricky for agents because, like, they may see your email, but they won't respond because they're like, we get so many things in our mailbox, we just forget. Like, it doesn't mean that they're ignoring you; they're just busy and a lot of things are happening. So that is, yeah, I would just advise to hang in there, keep posting your art online, connecting with others in the community, um, talking to people in person. Word of mouth will help out a lot because then even if they don't see your email, if they hear your name or see your face enough, then the next time you email them, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, that's who this is. Let me consider them." And that's like the most realistic thing that I can suggest because even I struggle to look for an agent for things that's outside of book publishing because, wow, they sure don't want to look at the email.
Well, with that, this is a great drawing, and I hope everyone participated, and I'm sure they all look amazing too. Like I have like a whiteboard, so like I tried to follow along. So again, mine looks a little bit crazier, but
Oh,
I did.
that's so cool.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And so yes, please follow Dominique at her Instagram, Dominique Ramsey Art. Anywhere else they can follow you?
So I am on, if anyone uses Blue Sky social app, um, oh geez. So my username on there is spelled weird. It's like EUQINIMODART. So it's Dominic backwards plus art.
Gotcha,
It's
gotcha.
not very pronounceable. Like you would need art, but
Yeah.
yeah, I am mostly on Blue Sky because Twitter combusted.
Right, right. Yeah. And with that, also, the next day for Black Mammal this week is about Recovery Wednesday. So we got this panel featuring three experts about human wildlife coexistence and how you navigate that in this ever changing world. So please keep up with us there, and then also on all of our social media. We've got like giveaways, some games, some like countdowns of the top mammals in different categories. It's a good fun time. And again, all the events are at our website at blackmologist.com. Any last words, Dominique, before we head out?
All I have to say is thank you guys for having me. I am excited to do more of these talks and get used to doing these. These are fun.
Yes, yes. I had a lot of fun. Everyone else had a lot of fun. You're getting rave reviews with your drawing. And yeah, thank you so much, Dominique. All right, I thank you everyone else for showing up. All right, see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
See you.